Hello and welcome to all the ES viewers. I'm your host Abhijit Singh, and we have a very special guest lined up for today. He started off his career as a professional tennis player, but soon realized that he's meant to shape young careers and has been successfully doing that for over a decade now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Thomas Drouet. Hi Thomas, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm very good, thank you. And you? Hi,
I'm
everyone.
also doing very well. How is
Yes,
it going down under?
it was fine. I mean, we arrived like 2 weeks ago with my player to play the United Cup, and she's coming back from an injury that she twisted her ankle in November in Brazil, and so now it was like she played today actually the qualis. It was the first match she played in 2 months, so we knew that that's going to be tough to win because she was not really prepared for this, even if we tried our best. But the positive sign is that after the match, he didn't have any pain to the ankle. So like this, we will be able to launch our season on 22nd of January. So we have like 2 more weeks of training and to be ready for that date.
Right, Thomas. Australian Open is the start of the new season for all the players, be it the top seeds or the youngsters. So I'm like, how have you observed or have you observed any kind of changes at this year's Australian Open compared to the other seasons?
Actually, we just started the qualis today, so the players from the main row they're gonna arrive in the next few days. So I didn't see many changes. The only thing that I can say in the qualis, which mostly I work mostly with players who are in the main draw. So that part of the qualis I don't see, but I can see like many young long players, young new name, like young girls also, young men. So it's good also to discover those new faces.
Right. And now, presently, you're associated with a very young talent from Croatia, Petra Marcinko.
Exactly.
What is it about her that the world doesn't know? And also, how has been the preparation?
So I started with her in September, so a few months ago. And she's just to tell you that this girl won the Australian Open 2 years ago. So she was number one junior, and they contacted me. The agency Edge contacted me to start working with her after US Open. And what I can say is that Petra is very special. I could see immediately when the way she was playing. We didn't play many tournaments until now because we started good. She won a tournament in Portugal, and after that we went on clay and she twisted the ankle. But what I can really say is that she's very open. She's only 18 years old, so she just turned 18 years old a few weeks ago. So my job as a coach with over 10 years on the tour is to guide her, to try to build her fitness part, to give her some repair, to share my experience about the game, about the big tournament. But I think this girl, we will talk later. Even if at the end of the season, if we do another interview, I'm 99% sure that she will be top 100 if things goes right.
All right. Now, connecting question with Petra, how's it working with a young talent like her? Because currently, as you said, that she's pretty raw, just turned 18, comes to a senior tour. Not much pressure is there on youngster like her, but as and when the world will get to know more about her game, the challenges will start from there. Yes, she has done well in the junior circuit, but a senior pro tour is a completely different kettle of fish. And also, if you can give your insights on your current and future targets with Petra.
So yeah, I mean the transition part, as you mentioned, is always the most difficult part because even if you are number one in junior, it doesn't mean that the next year you're gonna convert immediately in the top 100. There is a study about this. Once the girl plays her first WTA tournament, before she gets to top 100, there is in average between 3 to 4 years. In average, huh? I don't talk about specific player who climb very quick. So she did her first transition year last year because she was still 17 years old, so she couldn't play many tournaments. And she already felt that pressure, to play with adults was completely another world for her. And I think this is why she needed a new coach to help her to manage this pressure. and to anticipate things and to build her strengths, because now she's not competing against younger. She can compete against adults who are 30 years old with a lot of experience, let's say. So this is my goal for this season. Okay, so let's say it's her second transition year. So last year she did good for her first year because she finished the season 150 in the world, but there are still many rooms to improve, and that's what I'm gonna plan to do with her this year. Building the most important part for me is her fitness part, because she needs to be a lot stronger if she wants to compete at this level every week, and also everything which is related to the tactical plans. That's very important. Now we have statistics, we have everything, and I want her to be more familiar with this, because to help to understand the game a bit more.
Right. Now sticking to the female circuit or the ladies circuit, there are players in the past who have tasted success, Grand Slam success, very early in their careers. Maybe someone like Monica Seles, maybe someone like Maria Sharapova in their teens only. And then there are players who gradually mature and then become better at their craft. Someone like Simona Halep and others also. So how difficult as a coach it is for you to keep the mindset of that particular player or the head in the right space, because technically, or maybe from a coaching sense of point, your job is not just to tell her how to play well but also to keep her head in the right direction. So as a coach, what are your strategy regarding that?
I think as a coach, the big advantage I have, it's a one-to-one job, so I can have a very big impact on her on a daily basis. I work only with Petra. My day is devoted for her. So me, when I work with a player to arrive to my goal, I can how to say, I can work on different aspects, which is the mental, the fitness part, the tactical part, the technical part, and the recovery part. So every time when I work with someone, I try to find which level I can raise in which part she is the less good, let's say. And also it's question about maturity. For example, when I worked with Marion Bartoli, when she won Wimbledon with me in 2013, she won it. She was 29 years old. Okay, she was already a top 10 player, but she never won a big tournament. And I think at that age, when she realized that she was ready also mentally, and she got enough maturity inside her to manage those emotions. And I think with the young player, that's the work I do on a daily basis, with putting a lot of discipline in the work, because for me this is I'm kind of an old school coach, in my
Okay.
mentality. I'm not here to sell or to say magic things. I say, we're going to do simple things, but we're going to do them every day, and we're going to do 200% every day. And most of the time, those things are working pretty well now for more than 10 years.
So can I say practical, realistic, honest is are these the virtues which with Thomas the coach actually work on?
Sorry, I didn't hear.
I mean, I was just trying to summarize your answer and just said that being honest and being very realistic about your targets, and telling the player the right picture, are these the virtues which you really work on as a coach?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so because you just mentioned Marian, so let me take you back to 2013, because possibly that was the one, or if not the biggest, one of the biggest moments of your tennis coaching career. I mean, like, do you remember that day?
Oh,
And
yeah.
actually, you were there in the box, and if you can just take us through the emotions of not just her winning the championships, but also you being there at that moment. Can you please tell us?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because this year was the anniversary of the 10th year of victory already. So we had a call with Marion around Wimbledon time, and we were talking about that match point, because we talked a lot about that serve, and we still have this emotion on, when she hit the ace and we see the smoke going up like that. And if we see the slow motion in the box, I am the first one to stand up because I felt that that was the moment. And we work a lot that serve also on the training. And we one day on the training we were saying, you see, you will win Wimbledon with that serve. Like 2 weeks before, we were joking about that, and that's why it stay also because we joked about this, and this is how she won. But what I really remember, like that morning before the final, sometimes you can be very stressed because that's a huge moment in your life, in your career. And the day before, I called my wife and I said, "Do you want to come? Because maybe this we I will never face it anymore as a coach, and it's a
Right.
maybe one lifetime experience." So she came. She arrived that night, and then in the morning, I didn't change my routine. I was walking to the club, and I met Marion there, and we kept the routine. And what really stayed in my mind is this: she was calm, you know. We kept the same routine, and you could feel that she had this aura. I don't know how to explain. It's easy maybe to say it after the title, but for me, in the morning before the final, I knew she's gonna win. It's like every stars were aligned, and that you see, I have goosebumps talking about this again. And
Even I can feel it, Thomas.
yeah,
Even I can
it
feel it. I
was
saw it on television.
one of the best moments in my life, and I would like to thank her again because we did it together, and of course her too. She still remember that moment.
Right, right. Just sticking with Marian Thomas. Now, many believe, or rather, the for fans like us from the outside, it was there was a lot of statements being made that it was a fluke. But if you see from 2011 to 2013, she made consistent progress. I mean, like she went into the 2011 French Open semifinals, then 2012 US Open final. But that one thing which was missing was the final hurdle or the knockout stage, which we say. So, as a coach, what were the kind of conversations that you have had with her at the time when she was unable to, cross the final hurdle?
I think she did also one final in Wimbledon before she lost to Venus. So
Right.
she was ready. This girl, she was already. I mean, when I worked with her, she was 15 in the world. So and she was there for many years already, for 10 years. So I think what I brought her is this happy mood, but still with working, but being relaxed at the same time. And I think maybe that was the 5% she needed to explore her full potential, for example, and to don't be stressed. Because me, it's very important for me that we play WTA 250, 500, Indian Wells, Miami, or a Grand Slam, I will have exactly the same behavior. I won't be more like stressed because it's a Grand Slam or be like this because it's a 250. The discipline, my speeches, my organization will be exactly the same. And like this is also a good way to don't stress your player, because sometimes as a coach, you don't realize this, but you give your own stress to your player by acting differently for him. But that's one sign that, and I think that's the few percentage she needed. And everybody was talking about the draws, that she didn't play any top 10 and this. Yeah, but the top 10 they got beaten by by other players. So on that day they were better than a top 10 player, and still, yeah, she had to win it. So that doesn't take back any credit from what she achieved.
Absolutely. I mean, it all depends what you do on that day. Like that's all what matters. And
Yeah.
and you know what, Thomas? Right after the Wimbledon, everyone thought that this is just the push, or maybe she will be. I don't want to use the word dominate, but would like to extend her brilliant run. But then came a shocking decision of her to retire from the sport,
Yeah.
and a lot was written at the time, and she herself was in tears. She had a very very painful period. She was going through a very very painful period through that phase. Were you working with her when she was diagnosed with this disease, or did you had a chat as a coach and as a ward?
Yeah, I was close to her, but sometimes the players they don't tell you 100% of what's really happening. So I knew she had pain in her feet in Wimbledon and this, but she was not showing it at all, you know. And to be honest, when she announced when she told me after the match against Simona Halep that she stopped her career, I was shocked. I didn't expect this at all because the morning of the match, she was saying to me and the fitness coach that she wanted to win U.S. Open, that we are a great team, that she wants more. So we were really shocked, and we thought she was making a joke to us. She was joking with us, and we said, no, no, take your time. Don't say it tonight. Sleep on it, and we will see tomorrow. Sometimes when you lose a match, you just say, I don't want to play tennis anymore, and then next day you wake up and you want to go back on court. But no, no. So there are for sure there are things that I was not aware that she didn't tell me, but I think she didn't come back after. She didn't come back. So she took the decision and she stick with it.
Yeah. Now there's one rivalry in particular with Marion, which I would like to you to stress on the Victoria Azarenka versus Bartoli rivalry. Now Marion did defeat her on multiple occasions, and but Vika is still striving to produce some genius tennis on the pro tour. Do you see Vika winning another slam?
I think yes. When I saw her play also like last week and this, she has a good level. The only thing I don't know is if her body is able to handle 2 weeks of Grand Slam. That's
Okay.
my in terms of quality of game. She has the level, that's for sure. But then I don't know at this age if she's able to do it for 2 weeks. Even though, for me, I think that for girls, it's easier to play a Grand Slam than a normal tournament because they have 1 day rest and they still play best of 3 sets. And when they play a normal tournament, it's a 7 days and 5 match with the same format. So if she doesn't have many tough first rounds, I believe she can do it.
Right, right. Um, and sticking to your coaching words, how can we not talk about Bernard Tomic? Presently, his name is missing from the Australian Open qualifiers draw. As you be having worked with Tomic, how do you see his career graph now moving ahead? And how can he be still be a threat or maybe a challenger on the tennis pro circuit?
Honestly, he did many mistakes. That's the kind of player who was very strong, very young, and maybe we don't know the people around, or then he didn't do the right thing. He didn't work properly. It's not because you become 27 in the world at a very young age and you do quarterfinal from qualis that it's done. It would be too easy. You constantly, if we look at I had the chance to practice a lot with Rafael Nadal. I was his partner a bit with him when he was training in Monte Carlo, and I could see why this guy is special and why he stayed at that level for that many years. Because they constantly try to improve. Even if they are number one, Roger also, they always try to find something. Okay, now I do less slice, for example, Federer. Nadal said, okay, I need to go a bit more to the net. They always try to make evolution in their game. And I think this is where Bernard got his limit, didn't accept to maybe be a bit more aggressive, because this guy was so talented. And but now, no, I think he's 30 years old. It's not now that he let's say he missed a very good career, but maybe that was, we never know where is the limit of the player. Maybe this part was his limits, was not about the game, was just about this management and the fact that you don't want to work physically. So it's bad luck for him, but here everyone is at his spots that you deserve. There is no lies on the tour.
Okay, okay. Thomas, now you are in Australia. The world is looking now at the Australian Open, and world was also looking forward to the return of Rafael Nadal. And unfortunately, last Sunday when he said that he is not 100% and has already withdrawn his name from the Australian Open. But like I said, the whole world was looking forward to his return. Were you also one of them? And since injury has taken so much toll on his body, that because we from the outside can only imagine, but you having seen players on the tour, how do you really see him coming back on the tour and maybe win a slam? Maybe his best chance is Paris.
No, to be honest, I was talking before he announced it. I was talking with the tournament director here, and we were talking about him, and I said, but he didn't play a real match, for 1 year, over a
Yes.
year. So to play training matches and put a high intensity, and then when you play official match with the stress, with your body reacts completely. And I told him what I said that sentence. I want to see him waking up after the first match he's gonna play, how he's gonna wake up the next day, and this is exactly what happened. It's not in terms of level. He's still amazing player, but his body, I don't think his body is not able anymore to handle this charge, this intensity. He played one match, and the next match, boom, he got injured. And just imagine, for men, it's best of five.
Yeah.
And every even if they are at the maximum, it's already not easy. But if they are at 70%, then there is not big margin against a guy who is 50 and a guy top 10. There is no 50% difference. It's only 10-15% maybe. So I would like, honestly, because I really like him. I appreciate him. A lot of respect for what he achieved and the person who he is. But if you want my honest opinion for as a coach,
Yeah.
no, I don't think. I think he's gonna. I don't even know if he will finish the season. He's gonna retire before. So
Oh, do you see a potential retirement coming in 2024?
if he sees that every time he wants to try to play a Grand Slam, he can't play two matches in a row. What's the point for this guy to play? He's not going to play to win a 500 or to win Indian Wells.
Yeah.
For him, for many players, that would be a dream. But for him now, he's playing only for the Grand Slam. Maybe the Olympics, that could be the thing. But if his body doesn't allow him to play 3-4 hours in a row every 2 days, I think he's gonna retire.
Okay.
Also,
Because yeah.
also mentally, he is practicing for months, months. You are injured, then he has to heal again, to train again. It's the process is very also demanding mentally.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, okay. Just sticking to the romance between Rafael Nadal and Paris. I'm like the guy has won 14 French Open titles. I'm like the great Pete Sampras won 14 in his career, and as a kid, where I used to see the rivalry between Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi,
Yeah,
which then transcended to Federer and Nadal, and then of course Djokovic joining in, especially in France. I'm asking this question: is this rightfully said that he is France's adopted son because he has a statue
yeah.
outside the court, and tell us about his stature in France.
His statue just represent the guy, like iron guy with always the fighting spirit. And I think this is what we respect a lot in France. Okay, he won 14 times. He feels at home. The crowd is full for him, but also with his tenacity. That the work he puts in, the respect he gives to the player, to the crowd, even to the guys in the lockers. Everybody likes him also, not because he's a great player. They love him because he's a great person, and he's not acting. I see him. He's saying hello to everybody in the locker, to the to the guy who gives the sandwich, to the waiter, to the guy who booked the training. He arrives, say hello, polite to everyone, and I think that creates this image. And yeah, I truly believe that his aura will stay forever in the French hearts.
So humility, humbleness is something which you're mentioning here. Now, what I read also, Thomas, was that somewhere in your career you were also just a second. Okay, I'm so sorry for that.
It's okay.
Yeah. So as I was asking you that somewhere in your career you were also associated with Nadal as a hitting partner on multiple occasions. I mean, like, how was that experience?
To be honest, that's the only player who put my heart rate here online. And it was impressive to play with him. I was doing 2 weeks hitting partner with him, and after, when I was going to play tournaments, I was like, wow, it's so easy. I was improving so much. But really, I learned so many things in terms of discipline. You know how he was giving 200%. We were playing 3 hours, and for 3 hours, it was 200% in terms of fitness, technique, but also focus. It so I was like, wow. So this is what you need to become this special because they are special,
Yeah.
and I kept this in my mind, and I use it in my training coaching also. That's what I put in my players that daily discipline. But
Right.
it's such a nice memories, and also uh, because at that time I was coaching the club. I ended my career. I was just playing like French tournament, and he was like, "So are you gonna play the qualies of French Open?" I said, "No, no, I'm coach here, you know." So and he was like, "No," he said, "You should start again." And he was giving me, lot of respect, and every I remember like when he was winning the tournament, he was always giving me his without sleeveless shirt with saying a word, thank you Thomas for your help, and but every year that was the tradition, and when he was coming to the tournament he was saying, can I practice with Thomas? So we created this link, and that he's not my friend, but every time we see each other on the tour, we always have a kind word, and now how is my son and everything. So yeah, a great player, but a great person also.
Absolutely. I mean, like Nadal and sleeveless shirts. Now that goes back decades. I mean, like we have stories and stories about how Federer was pulled into also kind of sort of wearing sleeveless shirt. But that's for another day. We'll finish the Nadal chapter is with this last question. Uh, can you recall the day when you when you actually first met Rafael Nadal, maybe in his teenage, and also now with the current scenario, what are the major changes that you because you are someone you have seen the young Rafa, and now you are looking at Rafa who is experienced, but maybe as you said, the body might have just given up. So a comparison sort of thing, Thomas.
I remember when he won his first match on ATP, it was against Carlos Moya in Monte Carlo. I think he was 15 years old or 16. I remember it was a night session match. I think you can find it on YouTube. And I think his style of play really was demanding a lot for his body. And every match, especially on clay and this, he was running, 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 running. This is why after he tried to be a bit more aggressive. That was also to save his body, and to try to save energy. But can you imagine for how many years what he did to his body at this level?
Yeah.
When he was playing also Guillermo Coria, I don't know if you remember. They had matches together, but they were 25 shots every rallies and running right, left, right, left. So this, after a while, the body. But even Federer, Federer, his body after a while said stop, and he had a more, relaxed game, more attacking, less rallies. But yeah, every day at that level, you push the machine at the limit, over the limit. So it's normal that after a while, when you age, and I can tell you that they have the best doctor, the best recovery system, the best food, whatever. After a while, when you arrive like over 30 years old, this close to 40, it's mission impossible.
Mission Impossible indeed, Thomas. But being a huge fan of Rafa, I just wish him all the best. And like many others around the world, we also wish to see him go on a high because the man deserves it for giving us so much countless moments. Like I said, we now shift the momentum from Rafa to someone from your country who you have coached as well, Mr. Joe Wilfred Songa. I'm like, tell us about that partnership, how it bloomed, and how you were able to gel, and maybe more on that.
Joe, yeah, we know each other for a long time because he's only 3 years younger than me, and he's from Le Mans, where my ex-wife was. So I met him
Oh,
many times when we were younger. And what I remember for this guy is he told me one time, he said, Thomas, I choose the people in my team. So when I choose the people who are in my team, I treat them well and I want the best for them. If they are at their maximum and they feel good with me, they're going to give the maximum for me, and it's good for my career, for everything. So this guy had a way to treat the people of his team, but like 5 stars. That's what I really remember. I felt good. He was always asking me, "Do you need something? Do you?" We were eating in his house, and we felt like home. And he liked this. He liked. He was not the guy who was treating bad his team, and like I am. You are not good, or that. And most of the time, that's what we feel on the tour with some players. That's what I realized with him, and that was making me very good, feeling good. And he was also like a machine when it was about to train. And this, I was running with him, and he likes this also, this team spirit. So when he was doing the interval training in Switzerland in the forest, I remember he was like, "Thomas, let's come with me." I said, "Okay, I come." I was suffering. I was dying in the woods. But that's really what I remember for him.
Right. I like so for us while growing up and watching Songa in action, and when we knew that when he is in action or when he is in flow, not even the best of players in the world stand a chance. But those moments were very inconsistent from an outsider point of view, I can say. But like I said, when he was on song, he was one of the most celebrated players, and the fans could feel the energy, like the kind of tennis that he displayed.
Yeah.
So like I said, that he was celebrated by the fans. Of course, he had the for the players. Do you say the respect from the players in the locker room? So how do you summarize his professional tennis career as a whole?
I think he had already amazing career, but he could have get maybe one big title. But as a French, especially in the media, or the mentality. For example, in France, if you do a second round, third round is enough. Like we don't have this mentality of saying, "No, you're gonna be number one. You don't fear anyone." If we say this in France, if I say it in the interview, "No, I feel I am one of the best coach in the world." If I say this, they're gonna say, "Ah, he's so arrogant." This one, like compared to states, for example, the mentality in the United States, which I love about the sport, they really push you to give your maximum. No, you are good, you are the best, keep going. And in France, we have a bit this. No, we are shy. And even if Joe was this big man, maybe it could affect him also, like the way he was treated in the media. Or if you do semi-final, but he lost. No, give value. Like, okay, we if you want to win a Grand Slam, you have to believe you can win it. You know. So I think this is this French mentality that sometimes doesn't help our players. We should have a bit more. Don't be scared to say no. I want to be number one in the world. It's not being arrogant to say this. It can be a goal, and you work for this every day. That should be appreciated. I would love. I have a son who plays tennis. If he tells me one day, "Papa, I want to be number one in the world. I'm going to work for it." I'm going to say, "Go for it." I'm not going to say, "No, it's okay. If you are top 100 is enough." Go, believe, no limit, no limit. That's what I say to my players. Sometimes they ask me, "What's the goal for the ranking for next season?" I said, "I don't fix any goals. To fix a goal is fixing a limit.
Yeah.
If you can finish number one in the world and win four slam, go. I don't want to say, yeah, we try to finish top 50. No, you work every day hard like that. Why you would fix limits? You work, and then you do your best, and we see what's the best can provide you."
Right, right, Thomas. Very, very well articulated. But before we move on from Songa, one question now, from a fan point of view, I clearly remember the 2011 Wimbledon game between Roger Federer and Songa. I'm like that was one for the ages. And do you have any memories of that game, and maybe any conversation you have had with Songa maybe later?
No, to be honest, no.
That's a very, very
we,
honest
we,
answer, I
we
must
talk
say.
about that semi-final Australian Open, or final in Australian Open. Semi-final Australian Open. I think
Yeah.
we talk a lot about this. How he was also impressed by Rafa, and but we didn't talk about this match.
From a third party point of view, or from a fan's point of view, Thomas, I mean, like the likes of Roger Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, I mean, like the kind of domination these three gentlemen have shown over the past 20 odd years. I'm like, it's just incredible and mind boggling at the same time. Do you feel like, because I have also had a word with several ex players as well, and do you also feel that maybe this domination has potentially ended some careers in which potentially Songa is one of them. Have been denied of winning a Grand Slam because of the level that these three gentlemen just took the tennis to.
And there was also Andy Murray, Stan Wawrinka. We are talking about those three, but they were a lot. For example, Stan Wawrinka, Andy Murray,
Yes,
they could have had more slam, that's for sure. But I think at every in the 90s when it was Agassi, Sampras, there was also Goran. There was we were saying the same thing. Oh, those guys! When you are number 6, 7 in the world, Thomas Burdick. Do you remember Thomas Burdick? Was
yes,
top
I do.
10 for many years. He could have won. He never won a slam.
Leighton Hewitt also in that
Ah,
category.
yeah. So yeah, but the thing is that those people after those small group, the gold ones, they make them better also because playing by against each other. I'm gonna try to find a solution. So if you beat Rafa, if you beat Novak and this, then they become better and better. So it's harder and harder for the other ones. Can you imagine when Rafa played Joko or 50 times and this, can you imagine how they have to raise their level to beat each other? The
Yes.
tactical plan, for example, at this point after it's millimeter tactical plan. We are not talking about play high on the back end or whatever. So they go to these details, and these details, this little percentage, make a huge difference compared to the other player who don't have that chance to go that far to experience those big matches in the big tournaments.
Right. And even in the current now with Roger Federer retired, now Rafael Nadal towards the end of his career, and Djokovic still winning at 36, 37. Last year he had an incredible season winning three slams. I'm like, and he continues to raise the bar. I'll ask you the most generic question. I mean, like, do you think he is the greatest of all time?
Yes, if we look at the numbers and what he achieved, he is. After being liked by the people or like the character, this is another story because also it can be the media like also there is one good, one bad, like one who is fighting, the other one is more elegant. Like what they did between Nadal and Federer, it was also marketing. Nike, they had the strong guy fighting and they had the classy one, and they built that thing. But it was only two. When Djokovic arrived, what space he could have? But he was the bad guy. And but no, he is the greatest of all time. Even now at this age, he's beating the young ones. But he's making the young ones better and better. By playing against him, they learn a lot.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I thought I just lost you for a second. Apologies for that. Okay, now sticking to Djokovic's last question. Like you said that he's making the youngsters also get better. Now we see the likes of Carlos Alcaraz rising to the occasion, couple of Grand Slams, and you see the talent in the locker room, be it Tsitsipas, be it Zverev, or be it the likes of the best players around over here. I mean, like, do you really see in 2024 the baton being passed from Djokovic to Alcaraz or maybe others, or do you still feel that Djokovic still has it in him, given the fitness that he shows and given the hunger for more and more titles? And is there I'm sure that he was asked the same question and he said there is no limit. But do you see him at a particular number, maybe 30 slams by the end of his career?
I think if there is one player now in this season 24, as you mentioned, Alcaraz could be the one to cause him trouble, to that he cannot get to 30 slam this year because he got experience at the highest level, and he learned a lot. I think when he was cramping at French Open, it was because of the nerves. Huh? It was only about this, and he learned a lot, and he's working very hard to be ready to beat Djokovic. That the target of Alcaraz is Djokovic. That's it. So the other one, I think they are a little behind this. So I think Alcaraz is gonna win one or two this year.
Okay, so maybe Djokovic said that there is always a chance of winning all the four slams plus one thing which he has missed in his career is a Olympic gold medal in tennis. So, but that's for another day. Thomas, we'll come back to your tennis career. I'm
Yeah.
like, you have been a professional tennis player, like I said in the introduction, and then you moved into coaching. Now, the big question for you: what do you feel, or do you feel which one is a more tougher role, playing the sport, or now as a coaching? And also, what is the most difficult aspect of being a coach?
Well, the thing I realized first that I would like to say is that when I train, where I was training compared to what I do now or what I see on the tour is two different worlds. It was completely amateur what the way I was trained, the what my coaches were telling me. It's not to blame anyone, but as you told me, I played and I'm coaching. I can see how you can make a player, a top player, top 100 player, what you have to do, and I was far to do this. Um, and the thing also, um, as a player, you are a bit selfish. You see everything it's everything about you. You are the center of the world. It's an individual sport. It's like this. But then after the difficulty when you go coach, you don't see anymore. You think about the other first. Okay, so you don't put yourself in first position. I always try to think, oh, for my player, what does she think? The word I'm using, like are very important. The small talks we have. What can I do to make her better? It's a constantly, how do you say? I have to
Evolving job.
reset, to make me better each day, and that's the biggest challenge. And there is a very very big part of you have to listen before to talk as a coach. That if some coaches are listening, listen and talk only when you are sure, because sometimes you don't realize the impact your words can have on your athletes.
Right, right. I'm like, whatever I was able to read about your career, I'm like, you have had a challenging professional tennis career yourself, right from the time when you started off your career in early 2000s, and then by the time you ended, then you decided to give back to the sport by becoming a coach. But I would like to know what basically inspired you to become a professional tennis coach, and that too at a very very young age.
Um, I, First of all, I wanted to stop the tour because I was not earning money. I was 25 years old, 26 years old, and after a while, you want to have a family. You want to do like your friends who are not in tennis, who can start to buy cars to go on holidays, and you are every month you train 6 hours per day, you travel, and you have zero on your account. So that's one of the things that pushed me to stop my career. But after to go on the tour, I had the luck that I was working in the Monte Carlo Country Club, as a coach, and this is where I started to do hitting partner with the pro, you know, and I was like, wow, that world, I like this world. I want to become one. And my goal, to be honest, when I started to coach on the tour, I wanted to be one of the best coach in the world. So I gave myself the same goal when I played. So I obliged myself to have this big discipline, to constantly look for new technology, for new way of coaching. And the sentence that one guy told me, it's Tony Nadal. I was training with Rafa, and Rafa had a break, and I was on the other side with Tony. And he said, "So you are coaching here?" And I say, "Yes." He said, "Why don't you go on the tour? Well, you know tennis, you play well, you're going to be respected by the players, if they know you." And I said, "But do you think I have the capacities to do this?" He said, "You have the best thing that I see for years now. You have the discipline and you like what you do. So if you have those two qualities, go for it. After is just experience. Yeah, you will do mistakes like everyone do, in the beginning of your career. But the experience is this. We all start our job with no experience. You build your experience by making mistake, then you correct your mistake, you learn from your mistake, and this is the experience. So he told me, Tony told me, go for it. And I listened to him, but it was already inside me. So then after I took the decision to quit everything, and it was a no return ticket, because when I left the club, they told me, if you leave, it's done. I took the risk, and seems like 13 years after was a good decision.
Right, right. Thomas. Now we have heard from players that before a big game, or maybe not just Grand Slams, the ATP 1000 Masters, the year ender Masters, so that the players that they feel pressure. They might not show it, but they do feel pressure. What about the coach? What's going on in their head, like right before a Grand Slam final or a Masters final? Do you also have sleepless nights even now as a coach?
Of course, of course, I have. Like it's normal. It's we are human. We have emotion. The only thing, as I told you before, I have to control. I have to control them. I cannot give. My player can give me his stress. I have to be a sponge, but it cannot be the opposite way. I have to be the rock in the team. I am the rock for my player, you know. So if I show that I'm weak, that I'm so stressed, and I'm not there like this, strong next to him, that's not gonna work. Like for example, when your player is playing and he's missing an easy shot, or you have to show that it's okay. If you start to do this or to act that you are stressed, you are not helping your player. And I can tell you that when I travel 4 to 6 weeks in tournaments, when I go back home for 3 days, I am like a zombie because my player taking all my energy, you know, and because you have this. What I like on tour, you have this adrenaline, this competition, this moment, those feelings like when Marion won Wimbledon. How can you have this feeling in the normal life? It's the kind of drug. You will become addict with this adrenaline thing. And when I go home, all this stress that I have to manage, sorry, when I go home and I arrive, I'm like, no more. It's like my body say, okay, now you can let go. And but that's what pushed me to travel 40 weeks per year to be away from my family for this many weeks.
Right, right. We'll stick to WTA now. Now, WTA is really versatile, and when it comes to competition, also the division has a lot of depth in it. Now, how do you see the marketing when it comes to women's tennis? Because you have been associated with a lot of ladies players, and what else could be done to cater the sport to more and more audience around the world?
I think they should focus on the so sorry, not on the capacities of the woman, but the good side of the woman. The problem is that WTA tried to bring the woman at the same in the same corridor as the men's. No, it's two different things. You know, women's what do we like in women? If I ask you, what do you like in women's tennis? What do you like as a fan of tennis? I'm asking you a question now. I am the journalist. What do you like?
Um, I honestly, I have had taste on, or rather, I liked different players in different eras. Maybe the torch bearers, maybe the ones who are a little different. If I can say that I really loved the rivalry between Graf and Steffi Graf and Monica Seles, and then came Sharapova and Williams, and of course with new players coming in, the underdogs as well, if I can use that word. So that is something which really excites me about women's tennis. I personally don't feel that that best of three sets or best of five sets, the kind of debate that has been going on, because there are rules for some reasons regarding the same. As I'm not an expert in that department, but from a fan's point of view, I can say I still feel that the rules are fine. Maybe there's a place for a change, and change might come. But to answer your question, I feel there is always a trend setter in every era. Every 5 years, every 10 years, there comes a player that sets the tone for the
Yeah.
rest to follow. So yeah, that is something which I really like about women's tennis.
So me, for example, as a coach, what I like it's now they improve a lot physically compared to before. I mean, I'm playing every day with my player, or when Serena Williams or the girls, they were playing, serving over 180 kilometers per hour, like Sabalenka, Swiatek. The way they can, it becomes a lot more physical, so it's a lot more interesting also. And um, the thing also, what they are a bit more emotional. They are a bit more like this. So even if that's what is it's good in the women's tennis that there are four Grand Slam nowadays, not when there was Sharapova, Serena. Serena was the greatest. She was dominating everyone. But now we can have four different players who win
Yes.
Slam. And it can be a girl with 60 in the world because they are so close to each other. So, they should they should put the market in this position that no, girls, the story is not written. We write it every day, you know. Sabalenka, we could see her last year. She did 25 double fault in one match. She couldn't serve anymore. We don't know why, but this is, and most of the time they judge. Ah, the girls they cannot play tennis. No, that could be interesting also for the crowd to see this change of momentum and this aspect. And I think WTA is not selling well the image of the ladies for that.
So that means you are what you're trying to say is that the margin between two tennis players or two top 10 tennis players is very very
Yes.
minimal now,
Yeah.
and moving forward there is no certainty that unlike the previous eras where the Steffi Grafs and the
Yeah.
Serenas dominated the sport. Before it was already written that might be Serena might win three out of four slams. Now is not the case, and every player has an opportunity to
Exactly.
win
You
a
know,
slam.
for example, in 2013, I was talking with Amélie Mauresmo. You know,
Yeah.
she won a Grand Slam, and we were talking about the difference of 2013 and before. She was telling me, you know, Thomas, me in Grand Slam when she was top 10, before quarterfinal, I, I, if I want, I don't warm up. I go on the court like this, and I knew I'm gonna win easily. The first
Oh,
3, 4 rounds, they were very easy for those top girls. Now, I can tell you that everything can happen in the first round, and especially also. And I was one of the coach to fight to bring the format of best of 5 in the girls, because uh, men's they have best of 5 as we know, and
yeah.
many of them if they don't start well the match in the first round, they lose the first set. It's okay. I know the guy has to still win 2 more to beat me, and they put also this physical aspect in the game. The girl, if she start bad the match, she lose the first set, and it's 2-0 in the second set. You know. So I was like, make it best of 5 because also it will give value to the girls who are very strong physically.
Right.
You know like in 2 sets, everything can happen. The girl is on fire, but are you able to maintain that level for best of 5? Or you have to win 3 sets in a row. Can you do it? And that would be a good help to improve the level of the girl also, to force them to play best of 5. And like this also, we don't talk anymore about equality. That means they say it's not fair. They earn same as us, and they spend a lot of less time on the court. I say, yeah, okay, but they could play also best of 5. But don't forget that the cost of the plane ticket or the hotel is the same for the ladies than men's. That's
Yeah.
also what they forget to say when they talk about equality. And I know because I see how much my players spend. For example, like a tournament like in Cincinnati, the guys for 1,000 they earn 3 to 4 times more than the girls in the first round, but the hotel where we all stay is still $250 for the girls or for the men. So if we take the percentage, of it's completely the percentage of budget for the girl and the men is a lot higher for the girl than the men.
Right.
So you know,
Okay, okay. So basically, but do you also feel, Thomas, that that the fans out there are ready to see girls in action for the best of 5 sets, or that because that is also a debate which I have listened to in the past. So like you said that you are advocating for, yes, the girls have turned stronger, but there is also the retention time in terms of the fans watching the game, maybe on television or maybe on on their mobiles, or even for the ones who are right there watching the game.
but
The attention span will be as equivalent to that when they see someone like Djokovic, or or others.
there are not only Djokovic. For example, if you speak about the first round men's, many of them they are playing best of 5, and they are. It's not because it's a man that more people are watching. But I think the girls, if they play best of 5, the girls, first we have to start somewhere because if you start after 2, 3 years, then it becomes normal. Now it's like something we couldn't do, and I think we cannot do it because there are not enough courts. Also in terms of gap, for the media, then it's very long days. And but the dramatic part of the show would be for sure very interesting. We could see some change of situations, some in the beginning. But I,
Right, right.
I propose this to do best of 5, but in a shorter set, for example, for the woman. Instead of playing to 6, we go to 4 only. but we do best of five. To try to win a bit time during in the matches. So that's what I proposed to the tournament director here in Australian Open, like 5 years ago now. I was saying, why not? Don't we play best of five, but shorter sets?
Yes, maybe shorter sets is the way forward, Thomas. Very quickly, we are reaching towards the end of this interview. I just couldn't feel how time has just flew because I had such a lovely conversation with you. But a couple of more questions. Now, you became, like you said, you became a coach at a very early age, 26, 27, and from that, you have and you only said that it has been a good decision on your end, and you have had some amazing experiences working with some of the best talents, and you're still working and much more to achieve. But I would like you to know that like from a player's point of view, apologies, from a player's point of view, there is something that that still drives a particular player to achieve more and more. What is it that still drives you after being associated with the sport for over 2 decades? And how do you see this challenge of traveling, of contributing as a coach, of consistent pressure, etc., and of course delivering performances as well?
I think you just mentioned the right word. It's the challenge. What keep me pushing me to travel, to don't see my family, and this is the challenge to. I have a player, like Petra. I started with her in September. I see what she needs to improve and this, and I like that daily challenge to start from A and to arrive to B and C and D, and all these stages. Okay, now I correct this, we improved it, now we go for there, and that's all part. I really like that challenge, and now I'm a stage of my career that I'm looking also for the human part. Like Petra, for example, my player, she's a very good person, and that's what I like. I wouldn't work, and I mean, last year I stopped some ration because I felt that I didn't have the right person next to me. That's what I'm looking for. So it's not about money. It's not about being top 20 or this, because yeah, people told me, why you are not working with the top 20 because you have this experience. I say I have that opportunity with this girl. For me to bring her from 170 to top 20, it's it's amazing job. Like, I don't know. I work with Jacqueline Christian. I started with her. She was 170, and 7 months after she was 55 before she broke her knee. And for me, that challenge, when you see, wow, we did this together in 7 months, that's what's pushed me to continue this job.
Right, so the challenge lies in the challenge itself of pushing yourself and also your player to become better.
Exactly.
um, A last question. I'm like, be it as a player or be it as a coach, I'm like, an individual cannot achieve what he wants to achieve unless you have the support of your family. How crucial has been the family support and your wife, your kids? Just mention a thought.
In my tennis career or as a coach?
Overall, in your career also, as a coach also,
So,
overall.
as a my tennis career, this is why I stopped also, because I was talking about money wise. I'm
Yep.
coming from a very average family, and they couldn't afford, they couldn't pay anything. My grandparents, they were already giving me everything they could, but it was not enough to have a career. So the family or the sponsors are so important in the beginning of a career. Once you are launched and you are top 150, top 100, then it's okay. You are completely independent. But and now as a coach, it's not easy every day, to be honest, because when I have my son who is 9 years old, and I left on 26th of December from her, so we had Christmas, and on 26th his dad has to go, and when you see your son crying and I'm gonna miss you or this, that's hard for 2 3 days after you have. But I know that. My wife at home is taking care of him, and she likes sports. She understand. In the beginning was very tough, that she understand that I can be out of home for 6 weeks from in a row. But as you say, the passion for the job and the understanding of my family, and helps me to continue. But I can tell you that I don't have 10 more years in the tank with this reason. That's for sure. Less than this. My
Okay.
my son is growing. He's 9 years old, and when he's gonna be teenage, I think it's gonna, or 12 years old, and I just gave you an information that maybe in the next 3 to 5 years you won't see me anymore on the tour doing this job. Maybe I will be later with my son who likes tennis and loves to play tennis, but I would like to. It's okay. I did my time, and now it's time to take care of my family.
Absolutely. I mean, like that's quite a revelation, and I would really like to thank you for being so honest and being so upfront about letting your emotions, letting your career, letting us know about your targets, how you have achieved what you have managed to achieve. And like I told you earlier, that I've had absolutely a ball having a conversation with you, and being so honest. I won't call this as an interview, but more of an interaction, which I've really enjoyed. So, firstly, Thomas, good luck for the Australian Open. And it is not every day that you meet and talk to a tennis personality who has been associated with the game both as a player and as a coach. And would like to thank you, Thomas, once again for your time. And also, like I said, wishing you and your team all the best for the Australian Open and for your future endeavors.
Thank you. It was also a real pleasure for me. I like to share my experience, like my honest experience, without any, I'm not here to be a teacher or to tell anyone. I think it's good also to. I am just a man. I'm a coach. I love what I do, and if I can inspire some coaches to take the decision to go on the court, to go on the tour, and they have the opportunity to do it, do it. No limit also for them. And I would like also to thank you because it was a if I spoke this much, it was a very nice moment also. So thank you very much.